Hey, and welcome to another exciting show, Black Conservative Podcast here on iHeart Intellectual Radio. I am your host, Alan J. Campbell, aka the Bad Man. Listen, okay. Now, a lot of you all, if you follow politics like I do, and the law like I do, you will kind of if you notice the smile on my face, the crooked smile, it's not about. And as I was said, as it was said to me as I came into the studio, hey, you're celebrating. I didn't say I was celebrating. I said the Constitution actually shows that it works. It shows that it works. It shows that the law works. It shows that this man. Here's the thing: for those who have not heard or have had their head under a rock for the last 12 hours, today was the United States Supreme Court ruled. Now here, let's be clear. Let's be clear on this. That Donald J. Trump, quote, has certain immunities. Okay, let me get down now. Now, here's the thing of how that works. This is straight from the Constitution. Donald Trump didn't sit down and write the Constitution. The founding fathers did that, and they put these particular things into place and these articles into place. There are three branches. Now, this is one of the things to where we really have to get into. There are three branches. You have the executive branch, the legislative branch, and you have the judicial branch. Okay. Now, when we talk about these three different branches, they all have what they call in the Constitution. They have what they call separation of powers, which means one branch cannot tell another branch what to do. That means the legislative branch can't tell the president what to do. The president can't tell the judiciary branch, and the judiciary branch can't tell the executive branch. This is how this works. This is the Constitution. This is and now here's the thing. This goes back to the part where if you fully understand how the Constitution works. Now we have 9 Supreme Court justices. We have 6 conservatives, 3 liberals. In my opinion, and knowing how, and me understanding how the law works, the Supreme Court justices got it right. They stated this is what they stated, and the Chief Justice John Roberts wrote majority of the opinion, stating that that presidents, past and future, can have certain levels of immunity from certain crimes. Now, here's the thing. They broke it down to what they call official acts and unofficial acts. Official acts means that things that the president engaged in, or that he engaged in while he was president. Now, the things that they're trying to charge Trump on, and this is where Jack Smith is really the special counsel. Jack Smith is really is taking a bath. They actually this is a guy who has no recourse on what to do. The Supreme Court stated that sent it back to the lower courts. The lower courts now, what has to happen with Jack Smith and his team, they have to break each and every charge down to see if this was an official act or unofficial act. Now, here's the thing that they scrutinize. As president, Donald Trump, to verify, to investigate, and this is within his purview of power as the president at that time. He has the authority to hire and fire anyone he sees fit that in his cabinet, as part of his council, attorney generals. These are not elected positions. These are appointed. Now, when this situation took place, even Mike Pence he's not escaping this, because he told this the conversation he had with Mike Pence. I need you to investigate to make sure that these elections, that all the votes were counted. We need to find out, was there any type of voter fraud. He went to Mike Pence. He went to the acting attorney general. He went to the JOD. He went to each and every one of these individuals and had conversations. And not only that, not only that, but he pressured them. Basically, when you say pressured, he's forcing them to do their job as the president is asking them to do. That is not illegal. Per the Constitution, this is considered an official act. Also, an official act. Donald Trump was still president when he had in possession those classified documents. Still president, which he had the right to do. Here's the thing. Let's go back. Joe Biden was in possession of classified documents when he left office as vice president. They found him in his garage. But here's the thing. They didn't prosecute him for that. Sleepy Joe made the statement, "Oh, I forgot I had those," but he wasn't prosecuted. Now, here's the other thing. Earlier last week, the Supreme Court ruled. They gave a more hardline definition of what obstruction charges, which is what Donald Trump is facing. That went out the window when the Supreme Court says these are not because these people were acting on their own, and not only that, there is no credible evidence that he ordered anyone to storm the Capitol. None of that. Not only that, but the Supreme Court broke it down to what is obstruction. They did not obstruct a proceeding because the Congress hadn't even begun to start their process. See, one of the things that we don't do, not so much as Black people, but just as people in general, we don't pride ourselves on getting pertinent information. And one of the things is that a lot of us we don't know the Constitution. Even though the Constitution was written many, many moons ago, it's still in effect. And that was evident today because the Supreme Court justices looked into this, broke it down, and they sent it back to the lower courts. And not only that, but they told Jack Smith, you need to break down every charge that you're bringing and define what is an official and give clarification on what is an official act and what is unofficial. And they also told him, and this is told him too, and this is also in the Constitution, you cannot link one act to another you can't put two together to reach a third. So which means that they can't use an unofficial act. They can't use an official act to link an unofficial act to try to get a conviction. You can't do it. The Constitution says you can't do it. The opinion that was written by the six conservative justices, which is Samuel Alito, Chief Justice John Roberts, Clarence Thomas, Amy Coney Barrett, Neil Gorsuch, and Brett Kavanaugh. They all had a hand in writing the opinion, but Chief Justice Roberts wrote the majority of the opinion. Now, the dissents, which are the three women, you got a Black woman, a white woman, and a Hispanic. Go figure. And all of them dissented. Sotomayor, who's a Hispanic woman, said, "Oh, okay." When the Supreme Court, when they did what they did, they ultimately gave him made him feel like a king or a dictator or some type of monarchy. No, he didn't. That's her. Remember now, that is her opinion. They did not make it. That did not change anything. Now understand something. He is grant the Constitution allows the president immunity of certain things. It didn't say he was absolved of all. But what happens is that the ones that they're focusing on will crush the ones that they can't use. Jack Smith has a problem. Also, the obstruction charge that the Supreme Court says um, that the Supreme Court threw out and said there's not enough evidence to prove obstruction. That kills a couple of other cases, such as the one in New York and the one in New York and the one in Georgia. The one with Fannie Willis is trying to do that. This kind of sets the tone. And if you think about this for a moment, in hindsight, I don't think Donald Trump ever saw this when he placed three conservative justices on the bench. But what he did was reset the Supreme Court. That's just a hard reset that he did. And he's reset the Supreme Court for conservatorship and common sense for the next 50 years, which is needed. Because in all aspects, these liberals are ruining this country, top to bottom. The liberals are the reason why you had the fag show this week, because we need to be recognized. But here it is, I'm a black man and I'm having the hardest time being recognized just because just being a citizen here in America. These liberals are constantly boohooing about the rights of this particular group of people, this particular group. You're so what you're doing is that you're marginalizing other people. What are we talking about? Rights for these immigrants when they shouldn't even be here. This is a big stomping ground. This is prime choice meat for Donald Trump. Prime meat. Today was a huge, for anyone that is a conservative, such as myself, and I'm not going to lie about that. I'm not going to stick my head in the sand. There's no shame about it. This was a huge victory for those people exercising common sense. Common sense. The Supreme Court got it right. How? Because they followed the letter of the law of the Constitution, and that's a key word. That's why that term is so poignant when they say the letter of the law. The law is not ambiguous. Is not. It's the law is clear cut. It's either right or wrong. One of the two. There is no third. There is no third. And here's the most shout. Here's something that actually came across my desk. Do you know? And I think this is as a people, and I'm referring to as a black people, because this is why we have a lot of stupid people out here, and this is one of the reasons. And another part is that this is why we have these this generation of brain dead individuals that we call our children, because we neglect to educate them in certain aspects. Believe it or not, do you know that the current syllabus for certain schools, they are telling these children that they do not need to know the Constitution. They don't even need to pass it. And this is in 8th grade. They're telling them they don't need to know this. Then when they get to junior, senior year, they're still holding to that. You don't need to know the Constitution. You don't even need to pass it. Why do you think we have a continuous crop of stupid people? Because they don't know the law. They don't know how the country works because they keep listening to these jackass liberals. The Constitution is the moral fiber. For that matter, any constitution is the moral fiber of any country, not so much as America, but China has their own constitution. That's a moral fiber. Russia, they have their own constitution, the moral fiber of their country. Spain, France, the Middle East. Every country has some form of constitutional laws that they're governed by and govern their people by. We're the only country that allows certain aspects of the Constitution to be manipulated and erode and continue to be eroding away. One of the arguments is the Second Amendment, is the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. Now, here's the thing. The Supreme Court ruled on that, and a lot of people are upset. Who's upset? These damn liberals. Because technically they're saying, oh, you cannot unilaterally say that a person cannot own a firearm because that's a violation of their Second Amendment rights. Meaning, here's the thing. They're actually backtracking on states that says that that have enacted laws that felons cannot own guns. How that come about? Because it was an individual who happened to be a felon who challenged the law, and the Supreme Court said it was unconstitutional. You cannot unilaterally strip a person of their fundamental rights to own a fire, to bear arms, or to own a gun. Now, just a sidebar. Some of these individuals who are felons that have guns, they don't care about the Constitution anyway. So, to a certain degree, it's a moot point. It is a moot point. So, when the Supreme Court issued their ruling at about it's probably about 10:30 this morning, roughly about 10:30. And people, the Democrats were absolutely losing their shit. They were flipping out. Now, just a sidebar. Let's go back to last Thursday with the presidential debate. It actually, truth be told, it actually looked like a comedy show from Saturday Night Live. When you had Sleepy Joe, and I mean, he looked like he was actually sleepwalking out onto the stage. I thought that guy was going to actually fall forward, crash through the podium onto the floor, and nobody come to help him. Then you might, if the camera had got over to him, they'd have seen that he probably been asleep. You just, Trump would have said, hand that, he's sleeping, hand him a pillow. We can go on without him. But I honestly thought he was going. But the funny part about all this is that when he was asked questions, Biden was asked questions, he had this long pause, this deer in headlight looks, and then when he got to talking, and then he started trailing off like a little infant baby that's just been fed. Then when he went on to say then he got to talking about the some of the citizens that are trillionaires. And it's like even Trump had to look at him and say, "What now?" The moderators had to look at him. Did they say this guy say trillionaires? Then he backtracked and said millionaires. It was an absolute disaster for the Republicans. I mean, it was a win for the Republicans and a disaster for the Democrats. My point is this. When are we as Black people going to wake the hell up and realize that the Democratic Party is an absolute circus? Think about this for a minute. And I've said this before. The Democratic Party, think about what their mascot is. It's a jackass, a donkey, one of the most untrainable and stupid animals that you could possibly possibly have as a mascot. Then then Trump capitalized on a lot of different things that Biden was really flubbing on. For example, immigration. When he talked about the 12-year-old girl that was basically kidnapped, strangled, and then murdered, and then tossed off a bridge by two who by allegedly by two illegal immigrants who they wind up catching a few days later near El Paso, which is the gate, which is the point of entry back into Mexico. But they got caught. These guys. Then the conversation came up about the college student that was killed on the Georgia campus by another illegal immigrant. They're gonna eat this up. Eat this up. The Trump campaign raised $34 million that night. $34 million that night. That was an absolute disaster for the Democrats. Now, right now, today is Monday. Now, right now, they're trying to scramble to try to do damage control. Then, his circus wife, Jill Biden, she comes out and she's out there campaigning and says, "Yeah, you know what? You did a good job, and we're gonna keep on fighting." Now, here's the funny part: Jill Biden's ex-husband went on one of the media circuits and says, "I'm not understanding who this woman is because that's not the Jill Biden that I married. She seems completely out of touch and clueless." Now, this is her ex-husband that said this. Let's move on down to let's slide on since we're talking about the stupid things that obviously is running in the Biden family, because he's completely brain dead and she's stupid. Then you move over, and this is a sidebar, and this is going to Hunter Biden. Now he got convicted. Now he's this dude here. And make no mistake, everybody's talking about, oh well, Trump is going to prison. No, I'm telling you right now, trust me, Trump is not going to prison, and especially not after after today's win. That's not gonna happen. Hunter Biden, he's going. Hunter Biden, when he went on trial, this is the crazy part. You want to talk about a vindictive individual, diabolical. Hunter Biden's wait a minute now. His two ex-wives testified against him. One says he has an affinity for guns, and the other one says, oh, yes, he's had a drug problem for a long time. That's why we got divorced. I said, wow. Not to monopolize everything, I'm just letting everybody know that the phone lines are open. So if you got a comment, or you want to, you got a comment, or you want to join in this topic about what happened today with the Supreme Court and Donald Trump immunity case, give me a call here at the studio, 708 223 8953. That's 708 223 8953. We are talking about the immunity case that has come pretty much to a screeching halt for Jack Smith and any other prosecutor that is trying to get this man. Now, the sidecar to this matter. Now, here's the thing, people. Here's the thing. Now, let's be clear about this. The election is in 4 months. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 months. Okay. Donald Trump is picking up steam. He's just steamrolling right about now. Now, the other part is that the senators are scrambling because they're talking about, this is the part about understanding the Constitution, knowing the Constitution, and knowing not only the Constitution, but knowing particular articles, such as Article 25 or the 25th Amendment. Does anybody here? I'll put it this way. If you know what the 25th Amendment is, please give me a call here at the station. I want to see how many of you out there have really know the Constitution and know and understand it. If you can't, if you can't give me a call, I'm live. I'm here. I'm live at the studio. Message me on this platform. But I just don't want to give too much out because I know what the 25th Amendment says and says. But this is the part to where where I want you all to be interactive and what we're talking about today. Because here's the thing, and everybody's talking about this 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 uh uh this game changing thing. Oh my goodness, the Supreme Court has just put democracy at risk. First and foremost, let's be honest. Democracy is a dream. Democracy is a fantasy. It is a fallacy. It is a ruse that they want you to continue to be under. See, you have to understand the word democracy because it derives from the word. It's a derivative. But if you look at the word Republican or republic, republic means for the people. Okay. Remember, and I said this once, I say it again. The Democrats are the same ones who enacted slavery, who kept you bound, who what they're doing right now is keeping you. They're not using the physical chains. They're using the mental chains to keep you bound. How? The mental chain is the social programs that have been taken from the community, the separation of the black man and the black woman. Here's the other thing: the how they've inserted themselves into the entertainment world to keep to continuously degrade our women. That is a form the materialistic things that they put out in front of you. Here's another form of slave mentality thinking, and I don't want to drift too. Right now, the NBA just went into free agency, and there's a lot of guys signing ridiculous money contracts. Answer me a question: how much money is enough? How much is enough? When Trump references, and if you notice, he doesn't reference democracy because Trump understands that there is no democracy. The United States, truth be told, is not a democracy. The United States is a capitalist, is a social capitalist regime. That's what it is. We like to spend. Capitalism is spending money that you don't have. That's what this is. Why do you think that people who are with the retirement money is not there? Social Security is not there. SSI and SSDI. You're getting crumbs, and you're getting nickels and dimes instead of paper. You're getting crumbs instead of the whole pie. This was one of the reasons why Donald Trump got done away with what they call lobbyists or special interest groups. Whereas the Democrats continue to flourish off of this. They continue. And I'm gonna be totally honest because when January 6th happened, 2020, when it happened, I tell you, I was waiting to see smoke and flames coming from the Capitol. I swear to you, that's what I thought was what the next step was going to happen. But at the same time, as a republic, you have the right. This is what the Constitution affords you. You have the right to rebel, to disagree with the sitting government. In fact, there's a point in the Constitution to where you have the right to overthrow the government. Yes, you do. You have to dig very, very deep into the Constitution to find these little tidbits. Why do you think the founding fathers put those in there? They could not have. They could have not. They couldn't. They. It's no way possible they could have seen 200 and some odd years into the future, but they put enough in there to where it could carry over for 100 years and then another 100 years. And see, here's the thing about this, and this was something that was brought up today: that the fact that there has been no real changes to the Constitution in almost 70 years. Nothing added, no changes, nothing. There's a part of the Constitution. There's a part of certain of the Constitution that that still that they use today. Here's another one that they don't that you once you read it. Do you know that actuality that um in the income tax that you are charged, the income tax that when you pay your taxes, in all actuality, it's illegal because it was never ratified by Congress. It was done in the middle of the night by several members of the founding banks, and they decided to rush this through, get it to legislation, and they pushed it through to the point where the president had no idea what he was signing, which probably makes him the dumbest person on the planet. But there are certain things in there. But sticking to the article, certain articles concerning the president, it didn't say, and I reiterate this: Justice Roberts said that this does not absolve him of other things if they exist. Also, Sotomayor said, well, and at the same time, and all the justices agree that no one is above the law. And even to a point, even Trump has to admit that yes, no one is above the law. But here's the thing: Donald Trump used the Constitution the way it's supposed to be. This is what you call a smart individual. Plus, he has a lot of smart legal minds around him. The fact that his sister is a federal constitutional judge. You don't think he's been sitting in her house on Sunday nights chopping it up on what the next step is? You don't think that's possible? And Justice Roberts said the fact that you have to give a president a certain amount of immunity for particular crimes because you don't want him to use that to go after a political rival or vice versa. There's certain things that have to be done. And when we talk about certain acts, for example, they brought up the fact that while Obama was president, Obama had a man killed, but they didn't prosecute him for that. John F. Kennedy put together a hit squad to have Fidel Castro assassinated. Richard Nixon bailed out. He resigned before they could charge him with the break-in of the Watergate break-in. Here's the other thing: George Bush could have been charged, and none of that could have been charged along with Obama. They could have both been charged with also war crimes and treason. Hillary Clinton should have been tried for treason because she refused to send aid to because she was the Secretary of State and she refused to send military aid to the American ambassador in Benghazi. But she was not prosecuted. Because why? That would be considered an official act. See, they're looking at a lot of different things. So what Jack Smith has to do, Jack Smith is the special prosecutor who brought these charges against Donald Trump. And he has the Supreme Court told Jack Smith, You need to go back and you need to look at every charge that you brought. Not only that, but here's the problem that Jack Smith is going to have. There are no precedents. There are no previous cases that he can actually pull from to say, oh, here's one or here's one. Jack Smith was a puppet. And make no mistake about it, Donald Trump is going to win this election. That's all but assured after today and after Thursday night and today. And to think about, they're going to have a second debate. Oh my gosh, watch that one. That's going to be an absolute one. This is what it looks like, okay? When Joe Biden created the plane crash, the proverbial plane crash, or think of it even better. This was even better. Think of this: Joe Biden is that little infant baby, that 7-month infant baby that took a shit on the bed, scooted across, and then Jill comes in and says, "Oh my goodness, Joe, no, you didn't." The Democrats came in and said the same thing. "Oh, what's that smell? Oh, Joe, you didn't do that." That's exactly what Thursday night looked like. This is exactly what it looked like. Donald Trump said, "Well, I told you that was going to happen." What's coming into question with Joe Biden is his not only his age, but his mental status. Joe Biden is 81 years old, the oldest sitting president. But his age and his mental capacity is in question. That's the problem. I'm still waiting for. By the way, I'm not going to let any of you off the hook. I'm still waiting on on if anybody knows what the 25th Amendment says. I'm still waiting on that, and hopefully I get an answer or some type of message on my board to say, oh, I know what it is, or just give me a brief on what you know, because I'm not going to tell you, but it's very interesting, very interesting. His ability, see what's in question now. And just before I forget, after Thursday night, do you know the United States was the laughing stock around the world? They have a picture of Putin holding the newspaper of Biden and Trump for the debate. A picture of them at the debate holding it, and Putin had this look on his face, this kind of half laughing, half smiling, laughing look on his face, and said, "Hilarious." China is actually they were laughing at us, laughing, and they're saying, and then China, and they're saying, and these are the people that we do business with. Countries around the world were laughing at us. Now let's make it clear. Now let me now, and in all fairness, both men put on a hell of a show. That was some of the best television. Some of the best television that you probably ever see between the two. Now, granted, I will say this in all fairness: sometimes Trump can be a little reckless, and sometimes his facts can be a little suspect. Let's be, like I say, in all fairness, we have to call it. I believe in right and wrong. I believe in calling a spade a spade. Trump jumped all over him. He capitalized on a lot of Biden's mistakes. A lot of that you blame. You don't and to a certain degree. Oh, I got okay. All right. Somebody just texted me that they just sent over the answer, and I'm gonna get that, and I'm gonna get that out. So don't. I haven't overlooked it, but I just saw it pop up on my board. But I'm gonna get that out. We can take into consideration that here it is that both men, Donald Trump is 78 and Biden is 81. Okay, now let's like I said, in all fairness, both of these men are actually they're they're too old. Okay, they're too old. But on the but also too, you have to look at one has been a politician for the last 55 years and done absolutely nothing, and the other one has been a businessman all his life and created different things. This is an individual. This is a man who has, and I'm talking about Donald Trump, who has what they call generational wealth. Donald Trump comes from generational wealth. His father owned property and owned land. Let me rephrase that. His father owned land. Nothing was given to Donald Trump. The fact that Donald Trump's father made him go to work, not so much as go to work with him, but made him get a job and go to work to earn his own. But he taught him how to be a businessman. And Donald Trump is one hell of a business. He's one smart individual and one hell of a businessman. This is an individual who's filed for bankruptcy 7 times, which has allowed him to keep his assets. Has allowed him to do that. See, here's the thing that we don't understand. See, some people think, oh, bankruptcy is bad. No, it's not. Actually, bankruptcy was put in, truth be told, I'm going to be dead. And look, this is fact checking. Bankruptcy was put into place for individuals to recoup, to recoup their lives, to give them an opportunity to reestablish themselves. And truth be told, if a lot more of us blacks use these items, these nuggets, these trinkets that white people have been using for years, some of us would be a lot better off. The other thing, when you are, and then this is the thing that Trump works on too. When you are in bankruptcy, it helps you manage your finances a lot better, because it kind of puts you in sort of a restraining or a restraint, and it forces you into that mode. I have to do it this way in order to come out on the other side. I have to do that. Now, between the two, and I know this is, I know some of you are kind of caught in between or sitting on the fence. And if you had to say between the lesser of the two evils, okay, and when you think about it, and this was a conversation that was had today amongst of us, and they said, between the two, would you rather have a liar or a goof running the country? Well, I'm gonna be totally honest. I'd rather have the liar running the country, because at least I know what he's doing. The goof, you can't be, he's suspect. You can't be sure. And Joe Biden is an absolute goof. This is a guy that can't put 4 words together to make a complete sentence. That's a problem. That is the problem. Now, to go into the go to answer to the question, the 25th Amendment. Now, I want you all to pay attention. As I said earlier, the biggest question about Joe Biden is his health, his mental health, his mental capacity to function. That's a big thing. The 25th Amendment was put in place in the event that a president becomes incapacitated, meaning should he become an invalid, mentally ill, or severely injured to where he cannot discharge his presidential duties. What happens is that the speaker, the Senate speaker. Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, the Senate president. I'm sorry, the Senate president and the Senate and the House Speaker come together. They discuss options on how to on removing the president, because his health, his mental health is in question, or he's incapacitated. What happens now is that they have to get a third of Congress to agree to remove the president from office and install the vice president. The 25th Amendment was put in place in the event that the mental health of the president comes into question, or it comes into question, or he suffers some form of mental illness or disaster, or TBI, whatever you want to call it. That's what the 25th Amendment was put in place for. It's what they call a fail-safe, because under the Constitution, there has to be a head of government at all times. That's why when the incoming president and the outgoing president, you always see them together. You'll see one shake the other's hand, or one to escort the other one to a waiting vehicle or aircraft, because it shows what it's doing is it's showing the change of power, and there is no separation. He hands off, and then also too, what most people don't see, that the outgoing president has the incoming president a series a folder. Those are particular things that are put in place that the incoming president are to do and carry out. That's what they call, almost to a point, what you call chain of command. But in the event that the president becomes incapacitated, and make no mistake, that they are actually talking about that. They are talking about actually enacting the 25th Amendment and installing Kamala Harris. Now, that's another topic for another show. To touch and to continue on to the comments. Also, just to read this, the 25th Amendment is when the president's mental health is in question. The second comment is the United States is a republic. Okay, and look that word up, people. Republic means for the people. Also, going to Donald Trump. For those who are, if you're concerned about bankruptcy or you're interested in, this is what Donald Trump does. A bankruptcy, 7 or 11, all collections stop, whether it's a 7 or 11. And it's crazy. But that's what Donald Trump did. He managed to do that, to prevent it. And then what happens is that now all of this is what you call a very smart businessman. But right now, there's so many moving parts to our country. So many moving parts. And the biggest thing that the Democrats are really concerned about is Joe Biden's mental health. That's the biggest thing. And the biggest thing, they would rather watch this guy go down in flames than put Kamala Harris in the president's chair. That is not gonna happen. I'm gonna tell you that's not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Even his camp is discussing, should Joe Biden accept the nomination? That's another question. But here's the thing. Even Trump said this and late this afternoon. It would be pointless for Joe Biden to drop out, because he has all the votes. He has the delegates and all the votes to be nominated for the Democratic Party. So he said it would be pointless for him to do this. Now, here's the thing. This is what Donald Trump said today. This is what he said. And when you're discussing the fact that, and this was mentioned amongst a couple of reporters, that what if Kamala Harris does take over and have her run? They said no. They said you're setting us up for failure. The fact that a reporter said that for Kamala Harris to take over and run against Trump, you're setting us up for failure. All you can say is, wow. Setting us up for failure. So that the fact of the matter is that the Democratic Party doesn't even have faith in their own people because of where we're at right now. Crime is up, inflation is up, Jobs are down, and then for him to say jobs are coming in, and this, the thing about that, if you go out on the street and you ask people this particular thing, they'll tell you, no, I don't know. They'll tell you they have no idea where these people are getting their information from. No idea. Another little tidbit that um, that the Supreme Court did this week is that they basically, here's what they did. They basically criminalized homelessness. Now, I'm gonna be let me be more specific. There are some individuals, and okay, and there's two schools of thoughts here. Some are saying that some of these homeless people, because they fell on hard times, but then there are some people who choose to be homeless. So what the Supreme Court has now done basically is they criminalized it. It said that now they said they said that you can now that that you can actually they can start ticketing people because they have now criminalized it because they're realizing that some people choose to be homeless, choose to be. And to a certain extent, I would have to agree with them because here we are in 2024. There are entirely too many programs out here for housing, food, benefits, medical, cash assistance. Too many. It's too many. There is absolutely too many, even to a point where jobs, and also to the talk that they're trying to work their way backwards into putting certain vocational skills back into the schools to give these individuals some a trade. The biggest thing, and this is sidebarring for a moment. The biggest problem with education is when they took prayer out of when they took the Bibles and prayer and vocational things out vocational trades out of the schools. When they did that, this is what look around, and this is what you get. When I went to school, you had home ec, home economics, you had economics, you had you had auto mechanic shop, there were programs where you had carpentry. These were things where you were able to where you were able to develop a trade and take that elsewhere. Take it elsewhere. But back to just to back at the back to the ranch. These next few months are going to be very, very exciting politically. That's exactly what's going to happen. Exactly going to happen. Now, here's the other thing too. We have to pay attention to this too. Um, the fact that Jack Smith's position is appointed, as well as a few others. When Donald Trump wins, and I stand on that. When he wins, and that's going to happen. He's going to fire a lot of people, a lot. Jack Smith being one of them. Oh, he's going to be one of them. There's going to be several people who are going to be accommodated, I should say, for their loyalty, such as Steve Bannon, who, by the way, um, turned himself in to who reported to prison this afternoon. He's only going to do 4 months. So by the time that his 4 months is up, by the time those are up, Donald Trump will the election will be on or over, and he'll be in, and it's just this is what it. The whole point. And I'm gonna say this and wrap this up. People look at this man Donald Trump as a villain, but this is an individual who is trying to restore the balance, trying to restore some semblance of order and balance, some semblance. And when I understood the term of republic, and when they say republic, 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 That means that's giving the rights back to the people, returning it to the people, as the Supreme Court has been doing. So with that being said, I see the lights flashing in the distance and the helicopter's about to land. And which means that that's all the time we got here on tonight's show, Black Conservative Podcast. So, hey, however you feel about today or what your political affiliation is, hey, you're entitled to that. Right or wrong, good or bad, you are entitled to that. But if we are going to discuss these things, let's do it in a sensible and a calm and sensible way. We can agree to disagree. And with that being said, to the Batmobile. I'm out of here. Somewhere there's a crime being committed.